see dope people. Welcome to another episode of Dope People. I am your host, Hayden M. Green, and I am Brooklyn's favorite polymath. And I am going to walk you through some of the dope people that I know. And why am I using this term dope? And I've got a shirt that says dope. Dope is an old throwback term, and it really means something that's interesting, something that's really great that you find that you want to really enjoy. And I know a bunch of dope people, and I think you should get to know a bunch of dope people. And today, I have one of my oldest friends, and he is really amazing. He's actually the brother of one of my fraternity brothers, so a brother of a brother. But he's done some amazing things, and I'd love to bring to the stage and get you to know Judge Dale Fong Fredrick. How are you, Dale?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for taking some time out of your day. I know these are busy times for you, so I really do appreciate. But I want to dive right in. Dale, I normally try to get a sense for how people understand the term dope, right? And I'd love to hear from you. Who is the dopest person that you've ever met? Right? And it could be I met them one time or just somebody that I know.
The dopest person that I've ever met is also an old time friend of mine from the way, way back machine. I met him in the fourth grade, although he claims it's the fifth grade, and we've been friends ever since. His name is Reggie Hilaire. He is a retired NYPD officer. He is a 911 first responder, and he is the nicest, kindest, sweetest human being you'll ever meet. He's a dad, he's a husband, and he is just amazing. He's an amazing guy.
And we need all of those kind of people in our world. And so why do you and Reggie dispute where you guys met?
Because we're getting old and one of us has a better memory than the other. I'm convinced that it's me.
I respect that. I totally respect that. Well, I am happy that Reggie is in your world, and hopefully someday we will get to meet Reggie. If I haven't already, we've been in circles together, so I might have met him and not known. Um, well, let me tell you why I think that you're dope. So I've known you for quite some time, and your brother and you could not be any more different than if you tried. y'all are y'all are quite disparate on the realm of personalities. But one of the things that I always loved about you is that for all that you have achieved, for all that you have done, for all that you are interested in, one of the things that you hold dear to your heart is LARP, live action role playing. And the way that you love that, the way that you have spent time really giving it serious consideration and serious energy has always been impressive to me because it's one of those things that when you tell people that you are involved in LARP, they automatically have a whole set of other, things that go through their mind, and you're like, no, this is what I do. This is important to me. I remember I visited you in your office to do some headshots, and you still had a shield from those LARP days, and I thought that was dope because there are things that we find that are really interesting, and sometimes the outside world doesn't readily accept what they are or have a different opinion as to what they are, and when they are important to you, I think it's important that you stand up for it. And you've always been one of those people that I was like, look, this is me. And whether it is the LARP or anything else in your life, you've always stood up for it. And that's just an example of that. So that's what I think is dope about you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's funny, just to nerd out for a little bit. There's so many different parts of medieval life, medieval role playing. Everyone knows LARP. There's been movies about it, and it's the big thing. The organization that I was part of was called the Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA, and it's a little bit different than LARPing. LARPing really is like you're just pretending to do something, and you're like throwing fake fireballs and shooting foam arrows. The SCA was more in depth.
Mm.
You had to actually learn an art and really focus on becoming an expert at it. If you liked embroidery, you would learn about medieval embroidery and you would learn how to do it by hand. There are artists in that game who spend thousands and thousands of hours working on pieces of embroidery, who travel the world to museums to take photographs, to build their art based upon historic replication. I was particularly involved in the martial arts aspect,
Right.
so I had to learn how to fight with a variety of different medieval weapons. And it wasn't just like, you go out and you hit somebody and say, yay. It was real technique, real martial art, real combat that you would participate in.
So not just play fighting.
No, it was not just play fighting. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries that says it was more than just play fighting. But there's a philosophy behind it, like all martial arts. And the thing that I really loved was the black belt equivalent of being a fighter in the SCA was becoming a knight. And in order to become a knight, you had to learn an art. It wasn't just go out and fight. You had to learn an art, whether it was sewing or brewing mead or doing artwork, whatever it was, you had to actually invest time in learning that. But you also had to learn the self-discipline and the mental toughness of learning any martial art. And you could do it for fun and get an award and just say, yeah, I got it. Or you can really invest in the philosophy of self discipline and of personal growth. And I studied with one of the best fighters in the world, and he taught me a lot about self discipline and mental toughness and growth that made me a better person, that made me a better lawyer, that has made me a better judge, and has allowed me to have the opportunity to help other people in society
Yeah.
get past some of the most difficult parts of their life and become better people, and to help people who have suffered reach closure in some of the worst experiences of their life. And it's something that we kind of tease and make fun of, but it's such an integral part of making me who I am that I would never have traded that for anything else in the world.
And I think that's really important. And I thank you for the clarification of the difference between the two. And that's important because we're in an age where nerd culture is having a moment, right? Like, the cosplay world, the superhero movies, comic books are having a resurgent moment, and just to really hear how in depth it really is, because again, all we know on the outside of it is what's at the surface, um and I'm glad that you have a had that experience, but b also showed a face that sometimes really doesn't normally get associated with that kind of activity. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. And just to say, like, the people who do LARP, they're as focused and learned in their game as we are, because they have to learn stats, they have to learn
Yeah.
rules. It's
Yeah.
like following baseball, you have to follow who the best players are, how they develop their skills, how they develop their stats, and you have your goals and your heroes and the people that you want to emulate. And we have to make sure that the people who do LARP have their own shine as well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Dale, you know what? Thank you for that. And that sounds really interesting. And when we come back from this short break, I want to hear what dope thing you are doing. So stay with us, and we will be back with Judge Dale in two and two. I see dope people. Welcome back to Dope People. Today I am a dope Trini dad. For those of you who Get the pun, you get the pun. And it's one of the shirts that you can buy on the Dope People website. So if you're looking for that shirt, but I'm wearing this today because my guest is also a dope Trini dad, and I wanted to celebrate that with him as well. That's one of the things that I find really great about him as well. But let's hear him talk a little bit more about it. Judge Dale, this is your opportunity to tell me what you think, what dope thing you are doing. Like you can, and it could be like one time where I was able to pass judgment that turned somebody's life around, or it could be something that you do on a regular basis, like I volunteer at the Y every Wednesday or something like that. But what dope thing are you involved in? What do you do?
It's funny that you're talking about dope Trinidad because that's the thing that's in my head right now. The
Yeah.
thing that my daughter has decided that basketball is her thing. I cannot play basketball. I don't watch basketball. I know nothing about basketball, but I have jumped in feet first to learning how to coach basketball and to participate in the basketball league that she's playing in. So I'm now learning basketball rules, I'm learning basketball strategy, and I am working with my daughter and some of the other girls that she plays with in an all boys league. By the way, they won the championship.
Woo! So you go
Proud
from
dad.
being so you go from being a basketball novice to a basketball coach.
I am learning how to be a coach. I was an assistant coach to the real coach who won the team, who won the championship with the team. But I got to learn a lot about the game. I got to learn a lot about the rules and to help the girls build up their technique. And it's funny because I take my medieval training and I'm
Hmm.
using that to help them learn about body mechanics and movement and the importance of technique. And one of the things that I always tell the girls is if you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast. So you
Right.
have to learn the technique, understand the technique, and then once you do that, you can apply it in a fast-paced game. I absolutely love coaching these kids. I love working with kids in general, but I love the idea of getting to be a coach and to helping my daughter enjoy something that she really enjoys as much as I love my medieval hobbies. So the dopest thing that I'm doing is stepping out of my comfort zone, learning how to be a dope dad and a basketball coach.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Every time one of my friends goes down the road of becoming a dad, I was like, listen, this will stress you out more than anything that you have ever done in your entire life. But you have never smiled as hard as you will smile when your child brings you joy. There is no greater there is no greater experience. So I completely I am not a sports dad, thank God. My kid does karate. One of my kids does karate, and that is about the extent of my sporting. Because I see y'all, and I see y'all waking up in the morning and going to practices, or if they end up on a travel team, you going from this part to that part, and all these different type of things, and then the kid finally makes it to the pros, and they look right into the camera and go, "Hi, mom."
That's right.
So I totally feel I vindicated. I was like, I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. But hats off to y'all, man. I really know what it's like to be a sports dad.
It's great.
So I normally round out the show with a dope moment in history or a dope person in history. And today it's a really, really short history. This happened last year, right? And I love stumping my guests, but I want to see if you recognize what I'm talking about. So last year on February 14th, 2024, there was a session of the Appellate Division First Department. I'm just reading that. I have no idea what that means, but you probably do. And it was a Supreme Court hearing. And there were four judges: Justice Diane Renwick, Justice Tanya Kennedy, Justice Marsha Michelle, five actually, Justice Bahati Pitt Burke, and Justice Troy Weber. These five judges sat, and it was a historic occasion that these five justices were part of this hearing. Do you know why it was historic? It was the first time ever.
Was that the all female bench the first time?
the first
That's it.
first black female bench of all time. And so five black women sat and for this hearing at the Supreme Court, and it was the first time that it ever happened. And you're absolutely right. You know what? I knew it. I should have known I couldn't stump you. I, I,
Yeah, I remember it. It was a great moment.
So that is our moment in history, February 15th, sorry, February 14th, Valentine's Day, in 2024. And hopefully there will be many more of those things. That reminded me of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Once was asked how many, because, she would, it was always this fight to have more women on the Supreme Court. And she was asked how many women on the Supreme Court would be enough, right? Like, the fight was always like, well, can we have more? Can we have more? And her answer was nine, right? She's, and the interviewer was like, well, nine, that's all of them. I was like, yeah, there's been nine men for all time, and nobody has blinked an eye. So why can't there be nine women? And so again, these are steps down to that whole thing of why not nine black women? Why not, so all of these are possibilities, and I love that this happened last year. So
Yep.
recent history, but still in history. All right. So Dale, um, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you if they're looking to get in contact with you?
Judges really shouldn't be found,
You know
especially
what? You're
Supreme
absolutely
Court
right.
judges. You don't
we,
want to
we
see me.
we will we'll put you we'll put little asterisks underneath your name. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. If anybody else is watching and you want to like and subscribe and save and forward this to people so that they can see it and get to know Dale a little bit better, I thank you so much for that, Dale. Um, until the next time that we see you next week, we will have another dope person. Please tune in. But thank you so much for coming out. And until then, go forth and be dope.